Yep. Benham Brothers gay bully agenda coming at Christians with guns blazing. Here we go, Drew, and then
You want me to read it? You want to just play the audio?
No, just read it. It's quick. So
Sasquatch.
it's only three paragraphs, and I'll play the video or the audio, I should say. There's audio to this. So go ahead, Drew.
Audio. David and Jason Benham, who have become religious right heroes since their anti-gay activism got them fired from HGTV, joined former Alaska GOP Senate candidate Joe Miller on his radio program Saturday to publicize their new book, Whatever the Cost. David Benham kicked things off by warning that, quote, all of the things that are going on in our country in the name of equality and love and tolerance, such as marriage equality, are really, quote, just a disguise for a bully agenda that is going to turn its guns blazing towards religious liberty in this country. David cautioned Miller that he should definitely be, quote, concerned about his radio station, because it's especially the voices of Christians that say homosexuality is a forbidden practice who are at risk of censorship. Quote, when our country no longer honors the exercise of religion, which is what that is, in Marketplace or wherever we are, it's a very scary place to be, he said.
Exactly. So let's put this in context here. Let's play his audio right here. Here we go. This is good, man. If this ain't hatred, I don't know what is.
Here's what we're seeing, Joe, and we've been saying this now for over a year since we were fired by HGTV. This whole idea with the Supreme Court gay marriage case and all of the things that are going on around our country in the name of equality and love and tolerance, that's really just a disguise for a bully agenda that is going to turn its guns blazing toward religious liberties in this country. And you're right in being concerned about your radio station, or at least your radio show, and various other conservative voices that are out there speaking what they believe to be as true, especially the voices of Christians that would say homosexuality is a forbidden practice according to the Scripture, just like adultery or lying or anything else, and that's a religious belief. But when our country no longer honors the exercise of religion, which is what that is in the marketplace or wherever we are, it's a very scary place to be. And I think our country is changing from the inside.
When it comes to the marketplace, religion has no say. You can have your faith, that's fine. Do it. But it has no right in the marketplace. Now, for this guy to have a distorted perspective on what equality is and what love is just, it's insanity. That's why the polls rated at around 60% of the Americans accept gay marriage or same-sex marriage. I'm like, this is just ridiculous. This is why they got fired, is because of this hatred and discrimination due to their, I should say, religious belief. I'm like, it's just insanity. I'm like, this is what we're still trying to overcome. I'm like, this is just like slavery, like in the Bible, slavery. I'm like, we overcame that. We know that was wrong. But now, again, we're dealing here with this same-sex marriage. It's just amazing. Go ahead, Joe.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was wondering, these guys, it sounds familiar. They're twins or whatever, right? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Why exactly did their show did it get kicked off air, or just
it got
like
kicked
the
off air
ratings
because
dropped,
their anti-LGBT stance. So,
though
their
I don't
show-
think that came up in the show. It was just known that that's what they thought. And
Correct.
so the
Yeah.
network decided to can the show before it even got off the ground.
correct.
Really,
It was something.
and
it
Duck
was
Dynasty still on?
Hmm?
And Duck Dynasty still on? I mean, I'm wondering, like, what's the difference between what they did and what Duck Dynasty
I'm
is? 'Cause
gonna
they're still on,
say
right?
I'm gonna say it's facial hair. That's the difference.
Yeah, I don't really understand why it mattered on this home and garden show. I think it's like the guy, the head of Mozilla Firefox, getting canned because he gave money to some political campaign against gay marriage. I don't see how that's relevant. I'm all for gay marriage. It's okay by me, but I think these guys are right about the bullying because they do have a religious belief, an ethical belief that is now becoming more and more of a minority, and I have a hunch it'll vanish away before too long. But I think they're right that they are being persecuted for a religion-based belief in the name of the zeitgeist. and like this people targeting these bakers or pizzeria owners to trap them into making a decision like this. Aha, found out another one. Now let's boycott them and put them out of business. That seems to me fascistic. And again, I'm pro-gay marriage, but I think the guy
Yeah, I
is right.
disagree.
There is this concerted effort to bully and to declare
You don't find it bullying when a place discriminates against the gay people. It's when the gay people find out they're discriminating and point it out. That's the bullying.
Well, what is an example of the discrimination against gays?
I'll give you an example, just like us with Sweet Cakes. We just did this last week. Sweet Cakes came out and specifically said that we're not going to bake a cake for you because we're against the LGBT community. We think it's immoral. It's a sin what you are doing. They
Was this for a
specifically
wedding?
no, yeah, it was for a gay marriage wedding or a same-sex
Well,
marriage wedding.
I can see, like, I don't
That's a
think as Christians they ought to be doing it, but I can see them saying, I can't really be a part of this.
Well, can you see them like coming up with a better excuse than
Thank you.
than
yes.
than I just want to discriminate you? You know, it's not like they're asking for like, all right, here I want a dick going in a man's butt on the cake. It's just a cake, and it's business for. In my personal opinion, if you don't want to serve the community, and the community is made up of all kinds of different people, then don't open a damn business.
Yes.
You can't like open up a convenience store and then start deciding who you're going to sell, like, you know, cigarettes or two
This is
of
quite
legal
the
aid.
same thing.
Or
I
if I'm not
agree
going to
with
sell
that, but
pork and yeah.
they're being asked to be party to an event predicated on something they think is immoral. Now, I don't think as Christians they need to do that. I think they're going way too far in being hyper scrupulous. But I do think that they have the right to do that, and it isn't hatred. Everybody I know who is against gay marriage is not personally against gays, and even have gay friends. It's not that cut and dry.
Well, that's not.
This is like conscientious objection. You like with the Jehovah's Witnesses, you're going to force them to have blood transfusions. They have a kooky idea that they shouldn't get them, but you have to honor it.
Well,
Judge,
one difference there, though, is the blood transfusion affects just them. The difference between if you're opening up businesses and stuff like that and you're providing a service to the public, for instance, would you say that Christians might have grounds? What if Christians think that interracial marriage is a thing that they won't support?
Yeah.
Well, none of them do, but
Oh no, that's false.
That's false.
I
It
don't think
happens.
it's true anymore.
Not anymore.
No, there are
but-
plenty of freaking, like, we just
Either-
watched rallies of Ku Klux Klan members because of the Confederate flag thing.
Oh, yeah,
and
they
those
are
those
lunatics,
people
you're
consider
right, they're
themselves
still around.
Christians, and they are absolutely against interracial marriage
Yeah, I
because
think
and then they claim it's their Christianity that excuses their bigotry.
Yeah, I just think that's a crazy fringe minority, whereas the conviction that gay marriage is wrong, I think I don't buy it, but I think it has to be respected. And it's not like someone is legislating that no bakeries can provide cakes for gay marriage. That's not the issue. That you would have to oppose. This does just seem to say, hey, you don't go along with us, you will go along with us. We have ways of making you.
Let me
that
speak.
if
Hold on,
the
let me speak.
fringe-
Let me
if the
let me
fringe
speak.
minority,
Let me speak.
sorry, real quick.
Let me speak.
If the fringe minority argument works for Christians, then it should also work for Muslims.
Listen, I will say this.
And you could only use just everyone that acts out of accordance with the vast majority or whatever. You could just say it's the fringe minority.
What I want to
whatever,
say
sorry.
is
Not comparable.
this I guess TV show has all the right, being a private company, to say, hey, listen, we're not going to deal with the bigotry, the hatred that these people are espousing. We're not going to deal with it. And they're a private company. They could do whatever they want. If they say, hey, listen, majority of the Americans, don't agree with this. It's about love. It's about equal rights. This is our stance as a TV show. This is our stance. So we're not going to promote your bigotry in society or on social media. That's what it is. They have the right to kick them from their show. Now,
It's not bigotry. There may be anti-gay bigots. I'm sure there are, but that's not what we're talking about.
Well, they are, but when it comes to the cake issue, like TJ said, I agree with him 100%. We've covered this last week on the show. And it's great that we can have this civil discourse here and talk about this. This is what's great about having a show like this. Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, is that if a lesbian couple comes into your cake shop and says, "Hey, listen, I want to get a cake, done." Okay, well, what's it about? It's about our marriage. Oh, whose marriage? Well, me and my partner here, we're getting married. Now, if they specifically come out and say, and this is why we have laws against this stuff, discrimination laws, workplace discrimination laws. The reason why we have discrimination laws in general is because you can't do it. You can't come out and say just, we're not going to do it because it's against our belief. We think it's a sin. We're not. Well, guess what? They have a lawsuit and they won. They won. They won.
think
So
it's
we can't do
unjust.
that. And
No, and he's saying that he disagrees with that. And look, the whole lawsuit thing, I don't know, like, and putting an amount of money on how much you were discriminated against. I don't know if
that's
I
ridiculous
agree with
too.
that
I
either. To
disagree
be
too.
honest with you,
I disagree with that too. Yeah.
yeah, but the fact is that, like, let's say a gay couple wants to get a wedding cake and only one of them goes to the cake place and puts in the order for their wedding, and the gay cake or the cake place doesn't know that the other person is of the same sex because only one of them came in to place the order and everything. Are they going against their morals now because they weren't aware of the other side, or like because all of a
No, they're
sudden
not.
it's
That's a good question. This comes
question.
up actually in the New Testament with an analogous issue of buying meat in the marketplace. A lot of it came from extra leftover meat that had been offered in sacrifice to the Hellenistic gods. And so in First Corinthians, this question had come up. Am I countenancing pagan religion by going to a dinner party where the meat came from this thing? And Paul says, if you know that's where it came from, you might avoid some. It doesn't matter. It's just meat. But there are some weaker brethren who are going to not understand that, and they'll think you're being a bad example, patronizing pagan religion. So maybe you shouldn't. But if it doesn't come up, even if theoretically it did come from Apollo's sacrifice altar, forget it. Don't worry about it. So I think the New Testament position that these Christians ought to be following would be at least that I don't want to know what the people getting married are, what their orientation is. You want a wedding cake, you get married, here it is.
there you go. And
There
I
you
need to
go.
make a quick correction about that lawsuit.
Go ahead.
That was actually because I believe that cake place put out those people's information.
Dox drop and doxing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
correct.
we
that's
covered
what it
that.
was
You're right,
about.
you're right.
It wasn't about the actual.
It was partially to the
It
discrimination.
was because
but
they
it
went
was
on
mostly-
social media and called out the cake place for
And
not
they got
making their
death
cake,
threats.
and then the cake
Yeah.
place responded by dropping their information.
Yeah,
that's
and
what
they
the
got
lawsuit
and they
was
got
about.
death threats and stuff like that, which you're 100% right, TJ. You're right.
So
on
that was
Thanks
a
for correcting
correction.
that.
I'm sorry,
Correction.
we fucked that up earlier.
You're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
that's terrible. A terrible reaction, though. That's disgusting.
It is,
Yeah.
and the way they should go about it is not wear their religion on their sleeve while they're working or own a business. Say, hey, listen, we're just too busy. We just can't do it right now. I don't know when you need it. If it's this time, we just can't do it. How about that? How about just being a fucking a moral person to say, hey, listen, we're not going to discriminate. We're not going to show our bigotry. We're just going to say, hey, listen, we just can't do it. Okay, that's
I don't
it.
think it's
I think
bigotry.
fine.
You're begging the question. I think they're wrong, but I don't think that makes them a bigot.
Well,
I
the
think
thing
Being a
is,
there's a
bigot
difference
against the
being-
LGBT community, I think that is bigotry. You're hating a certain demographic, and they're showing that due
there's-
to the Christian worldview. Yeah, of course.
There
I
are
don't think
religious
it's hate.
people.
Did they say they hate it, or did they just say they're not going to be part of it because they don't agree with it because they're religious? That's where you're getting into, like he's saying, you're begging the question. They're saying, okay, we don't want to make the cake because according to our religious beliefs in the Bible, there is no such thing as a marriage between a man and a man and a man, or a woman and a woman. According to the Bible, it's supposed to be a man and a woman. I know there's all those other ones too. We know that. We do the infographic, the slaves, all that
Then
shit,
you're
right?
cherry picking because then you have-
they're saying, according to their religious view, there is no such thing as a marriage between a same-sex couple, and that's where people are like, "Oh, well, it's bigotry." Well,
what happens? Second marriages.
if
Well,
they, if
that's
you
against
really
the Bible
believe
too.
that marriage is from God,
Second
then
marriages
you have
are
to go
immoral
by
too.
the biblical principle.
Okay.
and not
I wanna-
by what
I wanna
we
hear
believe
this
in
from
the state,
Joe.
If
you
we
know?
want to go by,
Divorce.
if we want to go by sin and sin, if they wanted to discriminate and say, well, this is a sin, we don't adhere to this, we think it's immoral, then what about second marriages? Okay, I guarantee you they would agree that if you're married, you should not get a divorce. Okay, what happened about the people that come into the cake shop and say, hey, listen, this is our second wedding, this is my second marriage. Oh, listen, make me a cake. Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We can make you a cake. Are you
Exactly.
kidding
He's got
me?
an excellent point there.
No,
It's the
I
difference
agree with
between
that.
it's the difference between being a bigot and using your
right.
religion as an excuse
Correct.
and your
Bingo.
religion promoting like or instigating bigotry in a person, which is much more rare.
Bingo.
That's not an example. That doesn't follow from the very good example you gave about the second marriage thing. They don't really get too upset about that
'Cause they
anymore,
cherry
though
pick.
they used to about 30 or 40 years ago. And I think you're seeing in the evangelical community. Well, I know you're seeing a big change in the wind, and in a generation or so, this won't even come up.
Correct.
The same thing in the Republican Party. Like Charles Krauthammer says, this is a generational issue. It's going to pass away. A whole lot of Republicans, and I would say evangelicals, just don't care anymore. And it's like slavery. It's like women's rights. You don't hear them going around saying women should be in the home. They did about 40 years ago, but that just disappeared, and this will too. Or divorce. Oh, they used to hate that. But now it's happened to too many of them. And
So no
if
matter
it
how what you're saying is no matter how
Yeah,
they
2 minutes,
choose to evolve their reading of their own religion, we should just respect it.
Well, no,
Yeah.
it's just that they're
Good point.
going to come to the point as they have on these other issues where they begin to say, you know, maybe that is just an ancient culture. They've done it on issue after issue, and they will, but it hasn't happened yet. So what about the people that say, look, I'm sorry, you're putting me in a tight spot, I can't do it. It's as if you went to a Jewish catering place and said, now I want
No
a
pork.
plate of shrimp at my reception, and
Or
the Jews would say, look, I'm sorry, I can't do that because of my the kashrut and so on.
Yeah, but you don't go to a Jewish place to get shrimp catering
Well, you
or-
should.
I guess
go to
they should have
fundamentalist
Christian.
baker.
Then they should have like church bakeries or some shit.
But in
because
effect,
that's
they
the only
do.
place their religion belongs. Really, it's when you open a business, you get to make private decisions, and I understand that a lot of the private decisions they make are going to be less decisions. Whether like the whole contraception thing. How do you feel about that? You're pro Hobby Lobby?
Pro what? I'm sorry.
Hobby Lobby. Like that decision in the Supreme Court not to open up a
Yeah,
whole new.
I think that was blown up out of nothing. Hobby Lobby actually does provide, what is it, 15 out of the 16 available methods. I think that that's getting to be microsurgery, and that's bullying too. That, oh no, you've got to do this. Hey, no, we don't. We don't agree with that particular abortifacient. If it's true, I mean, they may have been wrong about it, from what I understand. But if they were right, at least their belief was, you're asking us to pay for your abortion. I'm sorry, we can't do it. I don't. I think that has to be respected. Otherwise, it's like a Quaker says, I've been drafted, but I can't go kill people. Oh, yeah, like hell you can't. Here's your rifle. Go shoot them. The government decided long ago, no, well, we can't do that. There's such a thing as conscientious objection. And I think that's what's happened. And that's what's at stake in all these cases. The government can't just force you to do this stuff, or we've got fascism.
Right, but I think
I
the
don't know.
difference in that analogy, like the last one that you gave, would be that the Quaker not, being a conscientious objector would be just affecting the Quaker, whereas the Hobby Lobby ruling is affecting every employee of that company.
No matter what
Only
your
in the
belief
most
is.
marginal, almost fictional way. I think
doesn't
that
mean if
was
it's
just
marginal or not.
Well, and it-
gross exaggeration.
Well, and also in relation to the example I gave when we were talking about the gay wedding cakes and stuff like that, the analogy that I gave was, what if an interracial couple comes in and gets denied? It seems like your response to that was like, well, that's a very radical, it's a very fringe thing that would actually deny that. But why does that matter? It's either right or it's wrong. It doesn't matter how many people are doing it.
Well, that's kind of question begging, though I do agree that one would be bigotry. I don't think this gets pretty, a fine line, but there was never anything in the Bible or that they could appeal to for that. There was this taboo against homosexuality. There's similarly one against pederasty, and some people think that that's okay. Would you suppose somebody said, I'm marrying my 8-year-old cousin, let's have a cake? Sorry.
Consenting adults. That's the only thing I have to say. Consenting human adults. That's why the bestiality argument doesn't hold any water. That's why it's consenting human
Yeah, marrying
adults.
your child and all that's all
Well,
consent.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying in my analogy and stuff. And you're saying, well, I don't see how they could biblically justify that. I don't give a shit if they can biblically justify it. It's whether they could legally justify it. If you're discriminating, you're discriminating. It doesn't matter if the Bible says it or not. Whether they say, "Oh, it's against my religious beliefs," doesn't matter. It's still bigotry.
I don't think-
I mean, whether you think it's bigotry or not, it's still denying somebody that equality,
Correct.
those equal rights.
Yeah.
Whether you consider that hateful or whatever,
Do
it's
you
still
have a
denying.
right to have a particular bakery make you a cake? I don't think so.
If
Don't
they make everyone else a cake for the same kind of celebration, just they don't agree with like, oh well, I don't like that you guys wear glasses, or like you can't
not
just pick and
comparable.
choose.
It's-
It is totally
it's-
comparable
it's
because
a
you can
sin
say,
concept.
okay, are you going to have lobster available on the menu because God is against shellfish, so we're just going to start like picking into people's personal details? No, you're there to cater something, not to fucking give permission for their lifestyle.
Or
Or
proselytize.
personal details on the view that you have to go along with the current ideology. I don't think you do. And it seems to me a kind of we will force you to betray your own convictions. And I think the government must not do that. Just go down the street to another bakery.
All right, let's end it here.
We have to. We're 20 minutes over.
Dude,
We'll
Bob. I mean, like, it's great having somebody like you here that could disagree with our viewpoint. That's great.
We
Of
all,
course,
no
that's
matter,
awesome.
no matter how much crap we give you,
Yeah.
we are so
Oh.
appreciative.
We are
This
appreciative, yeah.
this is all just fun banter.
Oh, you bet. Yeah.
Bob's like,
We-
oh, shit, yeah.
I honestly, I'm looking forward to the next time we have you on the show because I'm going
Absolutely.
to specifically pick topics so we can shoot back and forth for it. I'm
Great.
looking forward to it.
Yeah.
You've been very, very entertaining.
We're gonna call you conservative.
been a very
We're
good
gonna
show.
call you.
Yeah.
We're gonna call you conservative Bob from now on. How about that? Is that good?
Okay, what the heck?
I know. I'm just messing with you. No, before we get out of here, before we get on to the after show, Dr. Robert M. Price, let us know what you have going on right now. Promote what you want to promote. We're a big fan of yours, of course. I love your literature and your books out there. Please let us know what's going on with Dr. Robert M. Price here.
Well, I'm working on a kind of a big book called Holy Fable, the Bible Undistorted by Faith, where I'm trying to give a straightforward account of what critical study of the Bible shows without faith being superimposed on it. And then I'm, relevant to this, for instance, with the Sodom and Gomorrah story, I'm trying to show what this probably originally meant and that it didn't have anything to do with forbidding homosexuality and stuff like the Tower of Babel. What's that about? It was about a specific ziggurat, one of these stepped pyramids in Babylon that still exists. It was simply an ancient attempt to explain where did this thing come from, and just stuff like that, and try to show what it seems really to mean and all that. I got another one I'm pretty much finishing up called Blaming Jesus for Jehovah, trying to say that Christians cannot consistently say, oh, look at gentle Jesus, meek and mild, and just suppress all the genocidal butchery in another part of the Bible. I've got a collection of essays by Paul Tillich that have never been reprinted or collected that are my wife and I are publishing under our own Mind Vendor Press thing called The Ground of Being, neglected essays of Paul Tillich, and I've got various horror story collections in the works from a couple of different publishers,
Nice.
and so all kinds of wacky stuff.
That's awesome, man. So everybody, go check
Nice.
out Dr. Robert M. Price here, Bob, as we like to call him
Yep.
here.
Yeah, Bob.
Yeah, check him out at robertmprice.mindvendor.com, and I enjoy.